So
We are recording.
uh, we're recording. Fantastic. Well, welcome to today's community lunch, where we bring guests in to share with us their insights. Today is a really exciting day because while we're in our first handful of community lunch, this is our first time taking a project that was introduced a few weeks ago onto the network that has been solved, and we've got the creators here with us, and they're going to share with us their project, and we're going to introduce them. We've got our creators from University of North Carolina, Greensboro, and their cybersecurity department. And what they're doing is really where I began with VR, which is human training, right? Because there's just so much empathy that can be generated inside of these new immersive worlds. And the ability to train young people on how to communicate, on how to operate inside of these professional worlds, and how to remove the mystery, and how to respond to human behavior, and to be able to practice that. So I'm going to introduce Bootly. Bahar, would you like to introduce yourself and give us a little bit of your background? And then I'll let Nicholas introduce his background a little bit, and then I'm going to turn it back to you to talk about your project.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, JJ, for inviting us, and hello to everyone on the call. Well, my name is Dr. Bahar Porbazadi. I'm a dual PhD in electrical engineering and big data analytics. I graduated from USF's Muma College of Business, and now I'm an assistant professor of information systems at University of North Carolina, Greensboro. My field of research is in energy, healthcare, and cybersecurity. So I was fortunate to join UNCG about a year ago. And right after I joined, UNCG was granted funding from Google, which is supposed to work in a way that we reach out to nonprofits, and then we audit those businesses or like some organizations. And then through that auditing process, we get a better understanding of their cybersecurity posture. So most of the cyber attacks right now that we are seeing, especially in the US, they are targeted at these nonprofits and smaller organizations because these malicious actors, they know that these are small businesses and they might not have as much security on their network. Through this activities that we have in the one of the things that we did is to, well, after training our students, we would want the students to go to the businesses and have a conversation with them. So this whole process is completely non-intrusive. It means that when we go audit the business, there is no, we will not even touch their computers, anything like that. Everything is conversation based. So this opens up new opportunities for us to leverage conversational AI. And the idea came to us when we saw that the students, they've gone through multiple weeks of training and they know all the details, the technical details that goes into networking and cybersecurity. However, when it comes to asking questions one-on-one from the client, that's where we see that the skills were a little bit lacking. So the that's why we came up with the idea of the this VR game. Well, I'm not gonna steal Nicholas's thunder of explaining what the game is about and showing us the beautiful, project that he and with the help of everybody from the Rusella team and the Next Wave team has come to build. But that's basically like what the project is about. So we want to make sure that the students are trained not only on the technical skills but also on the soft skills. So with that, I'm just gonna conclude my remarks, and I'm gonna let Nicholas introduce himself and then share his screen and talk to us about the project.
Um, Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Barra, for the intro. My name is Nicholas Amwa. I'm a second year PhD student at UNCG. And then I graduated from, I had my bachelor's in Ghana and then in agribusiness management. And then I had my master's in agriculture and environmental systems at North Carolina and A&T State University. Then I'm currently having my PhD at the UNCG in information systems. My research interest lies at the intersection of AI and cybersecurity. I've also worked on projects like AI in education, but then from the perspective of educators. And I've also worked on AI surveillance on employees, workplace AI surveillance at workplaces. So this project, basically, my aim or my interest is getting to know how immersive technologies, how the impact it has on learning outcome, and with the focus on the Spartan Cyber Security Guardian Academy. So I'm going to start with the slide that we prepared about the project. Um, I can't share my screen. Okay. Yeah, screen. Can you see my screen, please?
Not yet.
Okay.
It says it's trying. It says watch stream. It's trying. There it comes. It's coming.
Here it is.
Okay, you see it, and you can hear me. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Looks good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So Spartan Cyber Audit VR, an immersive cybersecurity auditing
I'm sorry,
simulation.
Nicholas. You might want to put this in the presentation mode.
Um,
Just down the screen to the right.
yeah, I think that's where I clicked.
It might not let you in Discord.
Oh, okay. Then that's fine.
Okay, let's see. Is it it?
We can see it. We can read it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, as I said, my name is Nicholas and Dr. Bahar, and then we're also working with Dr. Lashmi and Dr. Moraes behind the scenes. Um, so quickly, I want to take us through why this game matters. There's an increase, the increasingly digital world towards evolving cybersecurity threats, and as we know, the expansion of digital platforms and cloud network makes it possible for more entry point to cyber threats, and this demands skilled cybersecurity workforce. According to the Boston Consultant um, Group, cybersecurity has a 2.8 million global workforce shortage. Now, companies need a workforce with technical and then plus business acumen and soft skills. Soft skill is very important. And then there's also a need to bridge theory and practice in education. Now, we can take advantage of technology advancement, how we can integrate VR and AI to create um, training models have a significant impact on learning outcomes. Our project overview The VR training game is designed to improve soft skill, especially communication and auditing in cybersecurity. During this game development, part of our team, we're working on the research part to look at what games are available, and then we realized that there are some games, but then it is not close to what we are doing right now, especially in cybersecurity auditing. The target users are students in the Spartan Cyber Guardian Academy clinic, and our aim is to simulate real-world interactions with non-player characters. For example, which we will see in our game, we would have a CISO, which is a Chief Information Security Officer, and then a mentor who has experience in cybersecurity in a corporate environment. And then we use Conv AI for our conversational AI and Unity for immersive VR development. So our main objective is to enhance communication and interviewing skills in cybersecurity auditing. Like Dr. Barra said, we realized that the students, after they are trained, when they go to the field, meet the CISOs, they kind of freeze and they don't know what question to ask or even what follow-up question to ask. So this gives us the opportunity to prepare them before they enter to the field. Provide feedback-based learning through dynamic NPC interactions, and also enable practical application of audit knowledge in the simulated environment. Our aim is to provide a risk-free environment that they are able to refine their communication skills.
Yeah.
A little bit about
Nicholas, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think, can everybody see his screen or do you only see his first screen?
We only see the first screen.
oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry about that. I shared the window instead of sorry. Um,
I didn't want to interrupt you, but
yeah.
we
Let me
can't really see this.
stop sharing and then let me share the entire screen. Let me see if this works. Oh,
And what you were doing was fine if you before was fine if you just clicked on the next image. We saw it when you clicked on it.
Yeah, you just didn't click on, I think, like,
okay.
or if you did, we didn't see it.
Okay. So do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So
Okay,
now
and now it's
you see me
ending.
change. You see me changing the slide.
Yes.
Yes.
So I guess I should continue then. I don't need to go back. You want me to go back? Okay, I can start. So yeah, so this is what I was showing. Why the game, and then why the need for a skilled cybersecurity workforce, because there's a shortage of 2.8 million according to BCG, and then industries need technical workforce with technical business acumen and soft skills. Soft skills are very important. And then there's also a need to bridge theory and practice in education. We can take advantage of technology advancement. And then what we're looking at is trying to integrate VR with AI. So our project overview is to develop a VR training game to improve soft skill, especially communication and auditing in cybersecurity. And our target users will be students from Spartan Cyber Guardian Academy. Our aim is to create, stimulate real-world interaction with NPCs, which are non-player characters, which we would have CISOs, which is Chief Information Security Officers, and mentors with experience in cybersecurity in a cooperative environment. We leverage AI for conversational AI, and then Unity for immersive VR development. So the main objective of this VR game is to provide a risk-free environment for students to refine their communication skills in auditing and cybersecurity. And this provides them with a practical, experience-based simulation to prepare them before they enter the field, so as to not freeze when they get to the offices of this organization and start their interviews. Um, so it enables practical application of audit knowledge in a simulated environment. So a little bit about the clinic which Dr. Bahar talked about. We have funded by Google Cybersecurity Clinic Fund. And then our aim is to train students to assess and improve the cybersecurity posture of non-profit and small to medium-sized organizations. Students conduct real audits, provide recommendations, and gain hands-on experience. This game fits into our mission because it gives us the room to prepare students before they enter into these organizations to start their interview. It helps us prepare them. So going to the features of um, the game consists of a multi-scene interaction with scenario-based transitions. And then we used Convey NPCs powered by Convey. We have mentors who provide real-time feedback based on questions students ask the NPCs, which are the CISOs and then the mentors. So that we have two NPCs. We have three NPCs. The first one introduced you to the game. The second one, I think I'll talk about this in the next slide. But and we also have randomized question system for variability and to prevent memorization. So we have about 40 or 45 questions that randomly pops up to prevent memorization. Um, Another feature we have is to fade to black and curve video transition for immersion. So I'm gonna play the demo. I hope the sound is very low, but then I have a subtitle to explain whatever is going on. I just put the pictures here, so in case the video doesn't work, we still have a feel of it. So let's see. Hopefully, it works. Can you hear? Oh, it's very low.
It makes sense to us, though. We got this.
Okay. So let me explain before I play. So this is the first scene, and this is where the student enters the room, and then the mentor explains what this game is about, what to expect, and then how you proceed in the game. So from this scene, we'll go to the next scene. That is when you've entered the CISO's office, and then you start your interview asking the CISO question. He replies. When you are done, you move to the third scene where you go and see the mentor again for a feedback you had in the previous scene with the CISO. We are going to, this game is designed to ask 5 questions in a section. So after each question you ask the CISO, you go for a feedback from the mentor, and then you go back to the CISO to ask your second question, and then you go to the mentor for feedback. It repeats for 5 questions.
So, Nicholas, I'd like to take 1 second
Okay.
and ask Dr. Clayton to respond because, Doc, I know you only have a half hour. So I wanted to get just a response from you in relation to the work that you're doing and what you're seeing in your tech stack and their
Yep.
story development.
Thanks, JJ. So I have just a little bit of time to go to another meeting about AI for the Air Force. And I actually have students that are in my VR lecture that are talking about their research for cybersecurity and doing VR simulations to practice very similar to what you guys are doing right now. So this is really great to see. Um, So yes, using AI for the conversation is a great entryway in. As I'm thinking through and just kind of what I'm seeing is so right, the support that the student gets, right, going back and looking towards the
Nicholas,
mantle.
will you mute yourself for a second? I think we're getting an echo.
It's his stream.
That's yeah, I was going right through as I was just trying to go slow without too much echo. I think there might not be echo getting now. Okay, good. Cool. And so I'm just thinking through as from what I'm seeing. So they're going they kind of go look at to the mantle for guidance for the next question, and then they kind of look back to the AI character, right, and to have that conversation. And so so the question is how much change in looking just kind of location of the mantle is where is that location? Could it be a little bit closer, or is it just a prompt? Is it a prompt that comes up? And so I'm thinking a little bit through that. We do a lot of we do a lot of conversation simulations at Air University here at Air Education Training Command, and we have not used the AI versions yet. We have used pre-programmed conversation scripts where choices come up in your field of view. That might be another way to potentially give you maybe support to the participant, and maybe that might be a way to give them where they have choices that come up potentially. That might help with a little bit of the AI kind of, I guess, scripting and decision tree to help the AI a little bit, so it's not just free AI, if you will. That could potentially be a way, and that way also those the way we've been using it is as those choices come up, they choose those choices, but they have to see that choice, right? And so if they choose, let's say, choice A, right, the choices A, B, and C, or maybe B, they're not right or wrong. They're more like good, better, best, right, choices. And so if they choose choice A, then the decision tree scripting of the AI behind it, it kind of knows what the AI character is going to kind of say. The AI character knows what to say next. And so the decision trees can kind of go either way. But all those choices that come up each time the participant says something and the AI says something and the choices come up, right? Those choices are all captured easily because the AI system, the VR system, knows what the participant picked is an example. And each of those choices are usually tied to an objective, right? And so that might be another way to kind of look at it. So there may be a potential, if there's need to capture more data, maybe in an easier way, is if those choices are there that you're maybe looking for, might be helpful versus just complete AI conversation, if you will, with an NPC type AI or combo AI or whatever. What we've done is just because the Air Force isn't there, and that might be because we just aren't able to get to industry easily to have them build something that way. So we've been kind of using choice-based AI conversations. So maybe there's a potential merge or something that could come in iterations as you guys go through this, where because those choices are things that the educator, the expert, the SME, the professor, and those people know like these are the ways in which probably our cybersecurity people would probably respond when the character says something, and we want them to be able to recognize the difference between good, better, best choices, and as they pick those choices, they can go in different paths of the conversation doing well or not doing well. But those choices that the students are picking are being captured by the system because the system hears the student choose choice A because they have to say it out loud. So it's voice activated, it recognizes and the AI knows what to provide next. And then obviously there's full AI conversations, which is where you're right now, which is amazing because that can be difficult. So those are the things I'm seeing right now. I love to say I actually texted JJ and can I please get a copy of this recording and stuff? And I'd love to provide some more feedback a little bit later if I can. So this is great. I'd love to help out and be able to have a lot of experience in the Air Force on conversation simulations all the way from a human in the loop to the AI side. And so with that, I'm going to let you guys go because I'm to the Air Force. And so thank you so much for letting me be part of JJ and get a little bit there. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us, brother. And so Andy had texted me and said, "Hey, I'd like a copy of this to share with my commanders, right? Do you mind that?" And so that's fantastic, right? And the fact that you guys are actually dealing with this from two stellar organizations, right? And the ability for you to collaborate and maybe build a project together. Thanks, Doc. I appreciate it. You have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. The other amazing thing is that you've flown beyond a proof of concept directly into an MVP, right? And Nicholas, this is a huge accomplishment and huge kudos for you, man. If you don't mind, for me to take a technical moment, what's really operated well about this whole thing, as I've watched it from the outside, is watching how the network got to participate, right? And even now, we have somebody called Mark Argenti on the call, who's one of the owners of Good Theory, that designs immersive buildings, and he's listening to your project, and they're in the middle of a design for a space that could facilitate human-sized virtual human to avatar relationships. And so I'm going to let him talk in a little bit, but I just wanted to point out that the community here is meant to be an easy way to access knowledge, information, answers, questions, right? As you're in a live, flow of building a project. And so, Nicholas, I'm going to ask you, and then I'll just ask Kai for a quick question. But first, what kind of support did you get from the community, and how did it solve any challenges for you?
Hello. Can
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah. So the community has been very helpful in this project. Starting from the design, the feedback. We met JJ and Tim, and I've forgotten one name.
Oh,
What in
Tim.
Apple? Yeah, and then from Greg and all the team, they've really helped in the design, regular feedback, regular weekly meetings, and at the on the technical side, I also helped me really like he's one of the smartest people I've met when it comes to code. I actually don't I didn't have any background in coding, so I relied mainly on ChatGPT, YouTube videos, Dr. Bahar debugging the codes from anytime I have issue, and Kai coming in, hey, what problem do you have? Within an hour, he fix it, he comes back again. So the community has really been of great help to me, and I really appreciate the effort.
Nicholas, the fact that you came in with no code, man, and you have accomplished this, man, I just want to. I mean, that's the purpose of our network, is to get artists, creative people, subject matter experts who are not computer people to build their stuff, man. And you have done something tremendous, because right now, all the corrections are about bells and whistles and resolution, and making it prettier and making it so you've accomplished something tremendous. Kai, do you mind if I ask you a quick question as to what were the brief challenges that were needed, that having somebody with a little bit of coding skill could come in, that somebody who's a subject matter expert who doesn't understand code could say, hey, here's the challenge or the story that I'm not able to solve. How do you solve this? Go ahead,
So
Kai.
we found that the more complex that we tried to make the understanding of cybersecurity and the AI, that the more latency, the longer it took to think. And so I think one of the more fun aspects, at least, is trying to find workarounds, right? Not as especially when you're first getting into code, you have to understand that not always you're going to be able to make the code work first time, second time, third time, sometimes up until the 10th time. And so there are situations in which you sometimes have to go, I could spend hours trying to figure out why this is doing this, or I could spend a half hour and come up with something to fill that time with while it's thinking. And so, we were having issues with latency, how long it was thinking, and instead Nicholas ended up going, we want pop-ups. We want to have a video that pops up while it's thinking to help fill in the space, give additional information, right? We know it has to think. We're not going to stop it from doing so because that could prevent it from giving us the information we want. So let's find something for the user to look at while it's doing so. And then so they created pop-ups, we got that working, and then we found that there was another issue from there. And the thinking was then starting after the video, and then we tweaked that and got that working. I think the biggest thing with code is trial and error. Half 90 per I say 90% of programmers, I say that that's probably an extreme. 70% of programmers, half of the code that they write is somebody else's, right? Code as a programmer, 9 times out of 10, somebody has already attempted to create the functionality that you are trying to create, right? And so you can go to Google, Unity Answers, Reddit, any forum, and you can basically ask, I'm trying to make this, how do I do it? And somebody will have already attempted that. And then you take that and you tweak it to match your code. That's sort of a lot of what Nicholas, I think, and I have been doing, is just looking at a lot of code that people have been doing and reworking it and tweaking it and sort of, shoving the square in the circle hole, until it finally pushed through. And then it did. And then, I think the biggest part is you've got to be willing to accept that it's not always going to work the first time. And that's, I think, been the biggest strength of Nicholas, is that when face to face with an error that was causing issues that prevented progress, he, instead of going, well, let's just trash that and move on, he kept hammering that nail until it worked. And so, as somebody who has been coding since they were like 9, it's I can tell you that the biggest part of becoming a programmer is being willing to accept it's not going to work for a while. Just look, somebody's going to have figured it out. And that's a big thing that Nicholas has been doing, is just taking that, adapting and growing. And I mean, like, Convey is not an easy system to use. All right, I've used it before. I know this is what the project is mainly on. It is not an easy system. Getting it to tweak and do what you want it to takes some work, and Nicholas has managed to accomplish that.
So Nicholas and Bahar are the examples of the purpose and the whole reason behind this network, right? Our goal is to assist Nicholas, who's developing these brand new skills, right? And becoming part of this new workforce that doesn't even exist yet. And Bahar is the subject matter expert who's taking her ideas and building them into immersive experiences. And this is the brand new way of learning. Um, and we're talking about now taking their idea and getting it out of a headset and getting it into an immersive room. And Mark, who's one of the owners of Good Theory, and they are experts in this and have been designing this since they themselves were 18, 19 years old, working with Justin Timberlake, designing the first software to push these LED walls, right? So they are just as passionate, interestingly enough, as we are to educate and to find new peers. So Mr. Argenti, just wanted to introduce you to the call, and thought you might bring up what we've been discussing and what you're kind of dreaming up, just briefly.
Oh, hey. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I actually just was talking with JJ on what something like this might look like, and of course, I mean, there's just a million ways to do it, but right now we're looking at things like lower res screens going to higher res screens in the same room, higher res for the AI avatar. Um, we're looking at a lot of options, but we're just in the beginnings of designing the room. Uh, and It's a very interesting concept. And I mean, I don't know, is there anything particular you want me to talk about in specific?
We were initially talking about a full room, top to bottom, all the
Yeah.
walls, right?
Yeah.
And so that's very expensive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Unfortunately.
we've been looking at, what is the best way of creating an immersive experience that is cost effective inside of a
Correct.
room, and really 3 walls gives you the best effect. Um, if you add a floor or a ceiling, it really makes it immersive. So we're trying to get a portion of the ceiling in there. Um, but the back wall is really not necessary unless you're really dealing with somebody who's designing for immersion. And that requires choice, and that requires looking in more than one direction and story occupying you in
Yeah.
more than one direction.
Okay, I see where you go. Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yep.
and so right now, you guys really have a singular direction experience, right? Where we're looking at a person interacting with an avatar. And something that really I thought was really smart is Mark and Ian yesterday said, you're not actually looking for an immersive space, you're looking for a stage because everybody wants to look at the individual who's learning and they want to see the avatar. So instead of inviting them to look at the back room, which is going to distract from this experience, let's focus everything towards a unified space or towards a unified place. And then we can actually focus where the avatar is, which means we can take the most expensive screens in the space and put them where we need the human behavior to be able to be read, right? And where we want the person to not be seeing pixels, right? We want them seeing details. And so I thought that was a phenomenal conversation yesterday. I'm really excited about you thinking in that direction. I wonder if we don't set up a separate call with you guys and with Bahar and Nicholas and let them dream with us for, a half hour, 45 minutes, and then let that be incorporated. We'll follow up. But uh, part of the network is also taking people's ideas and seeing how that excites other people in the industry, right? So what's really exciting is not only you gone from how are we going to accomplish this in the 2 months that we've got, right before the summer's over and school actually begins, and now we're in the midst of teaching. Um, and so part of the progression was moving from a 6 DOF to a 3 DOF, right? The ability to focus on the behavior instead of the movement in the world, so that we are matching learning objectives to the technology, because there's so much technology. Cognitive overload can get in the way if you do too much with the experience, right? So we focused on the human behavior. And then you guys were able to solve a couple of the challenges. Your use of AI, by the way, Nicholas and Bahar, is really elegant. I really appreciated you taking us through, watching how you built that. Nicholas, what I would ask from here is that you continue to share your learning moments and post them with us. We are going to continue following the project as it grows into potentially a spatialized experience in physical world. And as Dr. Clayton brings in some of the awareness of the last 6 years of human to human training in VR that they've been doing, and then maybe everybody gets to move a little bit faster. Um, Before I open this up to questions from our community, um, because the beauty of our community luncheon is that they're informal. Half the time we're eating on the call, right? We're not trying to make a formalized podcast. We're really throwing this into the community, letting us have honest conversations, and see if we can get each other where we're going faster. So, Bahar, Nicholas, any thoughts from you that you would want to share? Anything additional you want to share about your project before we open up to the community for some questions or thoughts?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for all the encouraging words, JJ. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate Kai for all the help he provided with the technical aspects. I mean, I tested the game yesterday, and whenever I deal with new technology or anything new, my initial instinct is to try and break it. So if it's like a chatbot, if it's like I don't know, it's a new toy, a phone, anything, like that's my instinct. I don't know, maybe that's wrong. But and anyway, like I try to like throw some curveballs in the conversation to the avatars to see like if it can figure it out or not. And every turn, I was surprised of how, the conversation was completely gone to the correct direction. I asked irrelevant questions like, okay, how much does a pound of pear cost in a cybersecurity game, just to see what the answer is going to be. And the answers were elegant. So one of the things that we dealt with in developing the feedbacks was the feedbacks in the beginning, they were really obnoxious. So the mentor would give us feedbacks, and I told Nicholas, like, if somebody gave me a feedback like that, I would never go back to them. So it was like in the beginning, it was not just like, the way that was supposed to be. So we did quite a lot of prompt engineering. We did look into their characters, and we really wanted to design something that's useful to people. And Dr. Moez, who is the PI of that Google grant, I shared the game with him last night, and then he said, you know what? The game is good and all, but I'm also learning. So he was just like interacting with the avatar, and then he came across something and had a conversation with the character and actually learned something. So these are like all the good things, and I really appreciate Andy's comment on designing the tree like conversation, so that I get to choose what kind of like where the conversation should flow, if my answer to a question is yes or no, or I don't know, maybe, right? So we are very fortunate that Convey provides us with a narrative design options. So we were able to design the narratives, and as the conversation would flow, it would give us options, and it would just like help create some guardrails for the conversation not to go awry. So yeah, that's all I had, and I'll be, Nicholas and I will be more than happy to answer any questions or give us feedback. Right? If you want us to, we can share the application. I know everybody here probably has their headsets. Please play with our game and try and break it, and give us feedback. Come back to us and say like, hey, what's happening?
I Yes, yes. And Nicholas has already, you guys, both of you have already taught us on our community, right? I remember Aaron bringing up just in the last 2 days a piece of software that you guys said we're using something else. And
Yeah, we're
he comes
using
back.
11 Labs. I think we had a conversation online with Aaron, I think. I
Yes,
guess.
and
Yes.
and Aaron's on the call with us. So he's so if you're looking for a face on the other side, Nicholas, what thoughts did you want to share with us before we open up to questions?
Yeah, I think Dr. Bahar said it. And one thing I want to add, Com AI offered like has the room for narratively designing how you want the conversation to go, just like Dr. Bahar mentioned. One thing I want to add, the first speaker made mention of making sure that the interviews or the responses of the CISOs are what really exists and not just conversation AI. And then I want to emphasize that we have an option to add a knowledge bank, which we added to the characters. So whatever they are saying is within what like the cybersecurity knowledge, because we provided it a knowledge bank, and then we added a narrative design, giving them options. What where the answers you give leads to the next section that it triggers. So I want to say that this has been a learning experience, which is very, even though it is the start of my career, but then I'm really loving what I'm experiencing, and I'm still open to learn more and open for feedback how we can make it better. So just like Tabara said, if you can break it, that gives us an opportunity to make it better. And yeah, we are ready for feedback. Thank you all.
Uh, thank you guys for joining us and sharing. Next time, Nicholas, if you and Caius have a time where you're working on something, I would love for you to record it, because the way you describe your collaboration and solution, right? What I love about it is it's sloppy, you know.
Incredibly.
And what I mean by that is solutioning can be sloppy. It can be organized, but you got to dig through the mud a little bit to find these things, right? And I would love for you to record that process, just so other people who are in your position can be like, okay, I'm not an idiot. This is just how we're supposed to work, right? You're finding it. You got to find it. Not There's no genius who's got this solved all before they start finding the challenges. You just got to confront them, right? So if you would teach us that, yeah, just wonderful. So let me open this up to the community and see if there are any thoughts or questions. Aaron, do you have anything that you might want to share, comment on?
Well, I mean, first of all, as somebody who has been in software engineering for their entire career, I would just like to give you guys some props. I think that the observations that Kai was making about the process of software engineering is definitely true. I've been doing this for going on 24 years or so, and since I was a kid, right? And so I keep thinking that sometime soon it will get easier, but it doesn't. I think that's just the nature of it. And so that, or I'm just really bad at it. I hope it's the first one.
No.
But I think that, as it relates to all of this stuff, I've found it very challenging to work on the edge of stuff. When I was first getting started, I was doing web, and I was on the edge of web, right? And the opportunity that JJ gave me to work with Access VR was to work on the edge of VR. And now all of a sudden we're all working on the edge of AI. And so we all just seem to be teetering on the edge of new. And, I've been looking at Speechmatics when I shared it in Discord the other day, and I was so grateful that you guys said, "Oh, no, we're using 11 Labs," because I hadn't looked at 11 Labs in a long time, and they've really evolved. Convey or Convi, I guess. I think I was the one who put that on Kai's radar in the first place, and I hadn't looked at them in well over a year as well. And the narrative designer feature in that is pretty cool. So full transparency for you guys, like I think the right now, as the engineer and the principal technology person for Access VR and Orchestrate VR and the tools that we're trying to build, like our mission is to create some of what you guys are creating now, but to do it in a way that, as JJ often describes it, creates sandboxes that other people can use through point and click design, right? Like our mission is to provide these things in ways that do not require coding skills, do not require engineering thinking. You just sit down and you pick the avatar you want and you give it the topic that you want, and off you go, right? And so my questions for you guys are, like, with Convey, I guess the thing that I don't understand just from your demo is I don't understand the interplay between Convey and 11 Labs. Is it just that 11 Labs is doing the text to speech? Okay, cool. I think the thing that I got really overwhelmed's the wrong word. The thing that I found so impressive about Speechmatics, but I see that 11 Labs has it as well, is the real-time streaming of text to speech, but combined with the ability to interrupt the user or interrupt the AI. And does that ability to interrupt, is that playing through into the Unity environment? Like, can you talk over the AI and it stops generating?
Yeah, I think it does. Like if it's a mid conversation and we stop, like we just say something and then it stops and then it just does a little bit of thinking, a couple seconds, and then goes back to conversation somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, that for me, that feature, despite what we want, which is, we want to teach people how to not interrupt each other and use their listening skills, right? But, there is a certain amount of human to human interaction where you can interrupt somebody's what they're saying because you understand their train of thought, right? Like it's a normal emotional response to, oh, I get what you're saying, and so the fact that there's engineering effort being spent to create those things, that's encouraging to me. And because who wants to listen to the AI drone on and on when they're giving you bad advice and they're giving you bad advice, or they're being unkind, which that was a really astute observation. I wanted to go back to that real quick too, because it strikes me as interesting that an AI trained to think like a cybersecurity expert would be a jerk, right? Because the people who gravitate to that tend to have lower social skills, right? Like it's just it's a natural sort of thing. I'm a tech nerd. I find that I'm unusual in my profession because my social acumen is so much higher, right? And so many of the peers and colleagues I've had over the years don't have those social skills. So that's really funny. And it's interesting to me that you then spent some effort trying to make it less like that. Almost wonder if it's creating a false expectation that people are trained by, because they're going to go into these environments and the experts are going to be not kind. They're going to be, wait a second.
My roommate in my undergrad was a cybersecurity major, and we roomed together for 2 years. I learned to deal with it, but he is, to put it kindly, blunt.
Yeah.
Like very straightforward, to the point where you're like, oh, you chose that string of words to tell me what I did wrong. Okay. So I can tell you, I'm with you, Aaron, that it's incredibly funny, because it's funny how realistic it actually is. I've dealt with a lot of cybersecurity people, and 9 times out of 10, they're very much to the point. Sugarcoating does not exist in their world. It is flat out, you done messed up this. This is your fault. And it's like, great. How do I fix it? Well, I guess I'm gonna have to fix it for you. Oh, thank you. That was my roommate
Yeah.
all the time.
And that's a different conversation too, like talking to a subordinate, right? How do you talk to a subordinate versus a leader? We're at the top of the hour, and really, what this has been is, we want to say congratulations and what a tremendous success. And thank you
Yeah,
for
I wanted to say something about the 11 labs that we experienced. So during when we were testing it out, Com AI have a lot of voices, which 11 labs apart. But then we realized that it gets to a time when the NPCs are talking, the voice start breaking. So I had to currently the one we are using is the GCP, which the Google Cloud Platform Voices that has been stable now. Um, on the 11 app account, it doesn't break when you're testing it, but then if it is through Convey and Unity, that is where sometimes the error comes in. But so currently, the voice that have been stable without breaking up is the GCP with the Google Cloud Platform. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to comment about the 11 labs, some of the disadvantage regarding this project. And then I saw some people also talking about the voice breaking on the Convey Discord platform. And then they were talking about it like when it's on the 11 app account, you don't see that voice breaking up. But then when it's through Convey and then Unity, that is where you experience it. But then, yeah, currently it's the GCP that we are using, which is giving us what we want.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that with me. It's this technology is so layered, so many layers to these onions. But I'm glad that you guys are looking, and I would just encourage you to always stay curious about the mechanics and the architecture behind the things. You will only stand to benefit from learning how they work. And I think that as this future, this future where AI is increasingly doing all of this tech creation work, the more you can know about how and why a thing needs to do what it does, the better, the better I think equipped you are to navigate, the coming career path. And I say that for myself as much as anybody. It's a very dynamic world that we're living in right now. So thank you for sharing those details with me.
Thank
And
you.
and we're excited to follow what happens now, right? Because you've just reached the threshold now where you can start operating and testing it with students and begin enhancing it and developing it. And so we'll pay attention. Maybe we'll get to have you come back and show us what you've accomplished with students. But once again, congratulations, much respect from all of us here. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, and thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Excellent. Joe, you can stop recording. And thanks, guys, for joining us. We'll follow up with all the things.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a good
everyone.
one.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.